talk about her background today in teaching English. And everyone, please give a lot of love, give a lot of comments. If you have any questions for Missy, please send them to us now, and I'll be covering your comments in just a little bit. So everyone, please remember to like and subscribe to Shaw English Online. And you can see Missy's Insta here at MISSYASTB_. And lately she has a lot of beautiful fashion content as well. She's a English teacher, but also a fashionista.
Thank you.
And you can catch my content at thisisfit_Lee. That's me. So, Missy, I wanted to ask you, what is your educational background? What did you study in university?
I studied primary school education at university with a minor specialism in English as an additional language. So it was always my goal to teach abroad. And the way we have our degree in England is you just choose one topic, and that's your degree for the whole 3 years or 4 years. So we don't really have like major, minor classes. We don't visit different classes of different subjects. We just choose one. But because mine was primary school education, we got to have a major and a minor. My major was English education. My minor was English as an additional language. So
okay, and English, teaching English and teaching English as an additional language, that would be the difference between like teaching English in a school in England where you're from and teaching English abroad. Is that correct?
Kind of like abroad, or even when we have students from different countries move to England as well. So it was, we have a lot of a multicultural kind of background in England. We have people from all over the world. So
Right.
I was, actually teaching in a high school back in England where I had loads of foreign students too.
Oh, I forget because we both have taught English overseas. I forget that you can teach English in your home country as well and teach it to students from another country. Missy, go teach at an international school. You would be perfect. Do you currently teach at an international school?
No, I actually teach at a language school, but I have looked into international schools, but they don't want to sponsor a visa. They want you to have the magical F visa of some sort. And I'm like, no, sponsor an F visa for me, please. But I'm at a global language school, so it's kind of better than a normal high school. My students are pretty fluent. And they study like 5 languages. They study English, Japanese, Chinese, French, and Russian. Yeah.
My goodness. So you are still in a very interesting educational environment. And everyone, please drop your questions in the chat. I know you've got questions for Missy about her life, questions about English, questions about where she's from and what she's interested in. So please be dropping those comments in the chat, and I will be there for you. So my friend Mike's got the hookup for you, perhaps. Perhaps we've got something. Mike. Oh no, Mike's a doll. I interviewed him last week.
Oh, Mike I think I saw. Yeah.
Mike is my twin. Like, we are the same person.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So everyone, we are here talking with Missy, MISSYASTB_. And she's an English teacher from England itself. And let's look into some of the comments. Let's see. We have a lot of people from different countries visiting. Hello, everyone. Give me your questions. And this was something you had mentioned a little bit. I wanted to ask you, what got you interested in the teaching field? You said you knew you wanted to be a teacher. Yeah. What was it?
Honestly, please excuse my squeaky chair. It's my chair, not me. It's so awkward. I'm trying to move.
Squeak, 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 squeak.
I'm like, freeze, don't move. Well, what first got me interested in teaching was I personally was at a really fantastic high school And the teachers there, we had basically like a turnover of a head teacher, and the vice principal became head teacher, but he was so friendly with us and so kind and down to earth, and he just created this amazing environment for teachers and students. We had great relationships with them, and he actually turned the school around. Like it was in a kind of like rough area with low grades, and then by the time I had graduated, they managed to change completely what they had been getting for like so many decades. But unfortunately, the school closed down a couple of years later because of like funding and things. However, it was an amazing school. So I was inspired by my own teachers there. And I'm still in contact with them now, still in contact with my head teacher. And that kind of environment inspired me to try and find that again, you know? And it was really great.
And to create that for others. So
Right.
everybody tell me, do you have some English teachers in your life who inspire you to learn the language, or who inspire you to go out and teach other people? Let me know who has been your inspiring teacher in your life. But I think that's so beautiful, Missy, that you had a great experience and it touched you so much. It wasn't just good education, it made you want to do the same.
Yeah.
And I think that is fantastic. Let's see. We got something here from oh, we had a question here. What is your favorite language? Do you have a favorite language?
I don't think I have a favorite language because I don't really speak many other languages very well, other than English. I think even then I'm questionable sometimes with what I'm saying. But I think, yeah, I just like, I love like languages in general. I love hearing languages. Like,
Mm-mm.
even in the UK, you'll be on the bus and you'll hear loads of different languages. So I just love hearing languages. I think they're all very, very beautiful. But I personally am not very
And
good at
you
that to
you
choose.
grew am I right that you grew up hearing Urdu in the home, that
Right,
your family? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Right, yeah.
So
My family speaks Urdu and Punjabi and Kutchi, which is similar to Gujarati. And also, my family were born in East Africa, so my parents speak Swahili, and my family mainly lives in East Africa now.
that is too brilliant. So we got a little comment here. What beautiful girls. Why,
Oh,
thank
thank
you.
you.
We appreciate that. We do. It's Lee and Missy. And we had a question here. And hi, Lee and Missy. This is from our friend Harry. He says, hope you're doing well. Which one is more difficult, teaching English to native English speakers or teaching English to non-native English speakers, and why? It's a different subject, wouldn't you say? It's
Yeah,
basically a different subject.
yeah. Hmm. Um, I think from my experience of teaching UK high school kids and Korean high school kids, the difficulty is some of the kids will be like in the UK will be saying things like, I don't want to learn about Shakespeare. How's this gonna help me in my life? So it's more like trying to make that kind of literature engaging, or language analysis. How can you make that engaging? Whereas the non-native like English speaking, it would be maybe very basic learning language, and there's almost a love for the language or a curiosity. So no matter what you teach, there is a excitement. They're excited to learn. So I think I don't think one is more difficult than the other. I just think
Mm.
personally, I feel like I have done more for the non-native speakers, because I feel like my students back in England who were from different countries, we had such a close little connection, and I never had that with my like native English teaching kids. I had a great relationship with both, but there was something else about the non-native students that I felt like I bonded more with.
And we do know how valuable English is for life and for jobs and education for non-native speakers. For me, I've taught both, and I think teaching to native English speakers is the question of making very complicated things from their own language fresh and new and charming. And that's also a very interesting thing to do. Do you know your English is beautiful? Your English is beautiful, Missy.
Oh,
Could
thank
you
you.
tell everyone where you're from, where you've lived most of your life?
Yes, I'm from Manchester in England. My accent is kind of a washed down Manchester accent because no one really understands us. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's a very flat accent, and we don't really pronounce the end of words, and we don't pronounce T's in the middle. So it's very like if you're from England, you know what I'm saying. Everyone else might need say that again. What was that kind of moment? So I have tried to change it.
And this was related, but what is your ethnic background? You mentioned it a little bit.
Okay, yes, I am actually. My mom is Pakistani and my dad is Indian. But my parents were both born in East Africa. My mom was born in Kenya, and her grandparents are from Pakistan. But my dad was born in Tanzania. But his family has been in Tanzania since the late 1800s because it was British colony. So it was like freedom of movement between East Africa and India and Pakistan area. Yeah.
And we had a comment here about someone who was inspiring in learning English. My brother inspired me. He never taught me, but he was stingy in sharing, so it got me curious. That's one
Oh.
strategy. Maybe if you kind of guard your English closely, other people will want to learn.
I appreciate that tenacity, actually, to push through. Like, you're going to keep it from me, but I'm going to take it anyway. I love that. I love it.
So no big brother. Oh, Pallavi. Hello, Pallavi. Good to see you. I think she had been on our live chat previously. So
Yes, I remember the name.
always good to see her. Let's see. We had a question. What is your method for learning new words? What could you suggest to people trying to learn new words in English?
I would say begin with some words you might know, use in your everyday language and start using it. So everyday conversation, like breakfast, water, do something, start at the beginning like that. So something you could actually practice using in your everyday speech. Because if it's something completely random, you'll be like, I'm never going to use that. I'll forget it. So try and use something every day. Yeah.
That is often the problem with learning sentences from a grammar book.
Right.
You can't use it, so you don't use it.
Right. And then you forget.
Let's see. So we had a question here. Are you a model, Missy?
No. I'm just a teacher who loves the camera. So I love throwing a pose, but I'm not a model.
I will say, everyone, if you check out Missy's Instagram, it is full of so many beautiful pictures. Anyone would think that she is a model. She is a teacher, but she is devoted to creating beauty. She herself is beautiful, and she always does a lot of beautiful pictures.
Yeah, I really love taking pictures. So I've always been like trying to take pictures, but I think when I moved to Korea, my self-esteem got a lot higher. So before it was never me in front of the camera or me very far away from the camera, but now I'm like way more confident, like whatever. I want to express myself through this, so I just do. But I'm not a real model or anything, just like to do it.
And we had a question. How could I improve my listening? Can you speak to that?
I think what would be good is something like music or TV shows or movies. So take off the subtitles and use English subtitles, or even take off subtitles completely and just be listening. And you could even make notes like, oh, what's this word? What's this sound? That's one way. Because I even find when I'm reading subtitles, I'm not even listening sometimes. I'm just reading. Even in English, I'll watch Netflix in English and I'm like, I'm not listening, I'm just reading. So take the subtitles away. If you can't speak to somebody, definitely do it that way.
Absolutely. And I do think that streaming video services are a big help in learning, because if you want to use it, it's a great tool. You can hear, you can read. It's good all around. We had another, I've seen you in person. You could easily pass for a model. That's my girl.
Right.
I know. I know.
Yeah, it's because I'm like tall as well, so everyone will just assume that I'm a model sometimes. And I'm like, no, I'm just a tall teacher. Even my students, when they first met me, they were like, oh, because they met me on Zoom first and said, we didn't expect you to be that tall, teacher. And I was like, yeah, I'm tall.
And even taller in heels. So we have
Right.
another comment from Harry. The teacher that inspired Harry is a chemistry teacher. Was not great at English as a subject. I didn't even know how to use do and does. Well, you've since improved greatly, Harry. So that is fantastic. So we talked a little bit about your education background and also what got you interested in the teaching field. And this is one for you. What has been your biggest challenge so far as a teacher, or maybe a top three? It could be like a moment that was challenging, or a career transition. Can you think of a moment or a top two or three?
And I think it's when I first began teaching back in the UK, when I was receiving my teacher training. There was just some moments where I felt like I couldn't do this. I can't do this anymore. Excuse me. And I was completely lost and I was scared to ask for help. So I think my biggest challenge was asking for help and not being afraid to ask for help, because that can be a big scary thing, because you don't want to seem dependent, but you want to make sure you're doing the right thing.
Exactly. And I think many of our subscribers, many of our listeners are also interested in teaching in some capacity. Many of them are also teaching other people. And I think that's important to remember, is that everyone needs help and no one ever feels like an expert. And if you are going to be helping other people learn a language, you also need to be filled and supported and nurtured by other people. You need all of that. So the early days were the hard ones.
Right, definitely. And then you just hear the other teachers tell you and say, you will get used to it. You will, find your own rhythm. But I was like, when? And now I've been teaching like 7 years pretty much, and I've definitely got a flow. I'm able to improvise if there's any issues, and I could never have done that back when I first started. So it does come to you naturally eventually.
Exactly. If you practice anything, it does get better. Let's see. Oh, this is a good question. Do you teach English online, Missy?
No, I actually don't. I was kind of looking into that at one point, but then I realized on my visa I can't do any of that online teaching because I'm
So
on.
Missy and I are both not living in the country we were born in. And if you live in a different country, there are always issues about visas, what kind of work you can do and can't do. So it can be a little bit complicated. But perhaps in the future, Missy will teach English online.
Yeah,
And in that case, everyone, you will want to be following her YouTube and her Instagram so that you
I
are
will
there
let you know. I will
for
let you
that
know.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Let's see. I can read English, but I can't understand it. Any tips for me?
Oh, that's interesting. I think I have that with Korean as well. Like I'll read Korean, I'm like, hi, I read that, but I don't know what it means. I think it's again maybe starting to learn like some key vocabulary, or not being afraid. Like once you read something, get a translator and then write it underneath or something like that. So you're kind of repeating the tool, and then at the same time, if you're finding vocabulary, you'll be able to build it up yourself. So make sure even if you are copying it off the translator, you're knowing which word means what, because obviously different languages have different word order. So just make sure you're translating it and understanding each word too.
Yes, and to not be afraid to use the translator. And I think also would I would make flashcards if there's any grammar I don't know, and I would make as many variations as I can. Like, I went to the store yesterday. I went to the bank last week. I went and just make a lot of variations. If you make a lot of different ones, then you can learn a lot. What are the study habits of your ideal student? Ooh.
For my ideal student,
Do they hang out in the
study habits? I'd say something like, I personally would want them to be more, to be honest, I care more about the classroom, how they're in the classroom, because I think that is where they do their most absorbing the best way. So it's just attentive students who are listening, engaging, not being afraid of the instructions I give them. So what's your opinion? And then, getting over that fear of answering a question. So just being active and engaging in class, that will boost the confidence up. And then when they're studying at home or doing anything like that, they have that self-esteem boost and that confidence. Because before that, they might have been like, oh, I can't study, I don't know what I'm doing. But if you build a good classroom rapport between student and teacher, then I think that builds self-esteem to improve the language too.
And I like the idea, and I think it's correct that if they are engaged and active in class and bringing their best energy, they will also be studying appropriately when they're alone.
Right.
So that's interesting that you are more impressed by what they bring to like game time. Class is game time. We're all here. We're bringing our best. It's like a sport,
Right.
and we're all on one team.
Mhm.
Let's see. We had a good compliment here. A fantastic conversation. I'm really enjoying it. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
It is always a delight for me to be talking with Missy. And let's see. We had a good one here about how long do you think it takes to become fluent in English?
Well, actually, when I was studying at university, they told us the statistics, and it's 2 years to become conversationally fluent and 5 years to become native fluent. That's what the study said about 10 years ago, 10, 9, 8 years ago. So if you are consistently immersing yourself in the language, about 2 years. What do you think, Lee? Because I know that you speak Korean. So how was it on the Korean
I
side?
think for Korean, it was more like 4 years, but it was, among other things, it was the first language I learned. I think if you have learned a second language, it's much easier to learn a third.
Yeah.
Also, Korean is one of the most difficult languages if your native language is English. So I think how long it takes to learn English depends a lot on the language you're coming from. And I think though, for most people, it could easily be done in 2 years, conversational fluency, where you could have English friends. Absolutely can be done in 2 years. Because there are so many materials. Do you know how many movies and songs are in English? Like you can do it.
Too, different accents you could hear as well.
Okay. Right. And we had a question here. Do you think students should learn and use the word ain't? I believe I'm being made fun of because I use this word.
Oh, okay. No, I actually teach my students slang as well. But even in the UK, we'd say you can use ain't, you can use slang, but you need to know when to use formal language too. So I'm teaching formal English, but I will be teaching slang too. So it's just being able to use it in the right context. So if I was talking in a conversation with somebody in the teaching profession, I wouldn't say ain't, but if I was talking to my friend who's a teacher, I would say whatever I wanted. So it's just more about using it in the correct content, but learning both. So not ain't, using isn't, and learning both and using them correctly. Yeah.
Exactly. I would agree that there are almost no wrong or bad words in English. If you know the right time to use it, you can use almost anything. I never recommend cursing. I don't recommend it. But I don't think there are any wrong words. I think we can use all of them as long as we know when. Oh, that's so funny. Let's. I seem to have a little bit of a cold, everyone, but
Honestly, that was me last week. I was coughing. I was not coughing. Sorry, I was just sneezing and runny nose. It's this change of weather. It's cold
it
now.
is. It is. Oh, so we had a little hello there, and someone had mentioned that language is about habit. Do you agree with that, Missy? Is there anything you could say about language being related to habits? What
Yeah,
what kind of habits could students develop that would help them be better at acquiring a language?
I think I agree with that. A language is a habit. You have to practice it all the time. You have to kind of somehow engage it into your everyday life in one way or the other. So even every day, if you have a phone call with a native speaker or you watch a movie in the native language you're learning, you create that habit. And because I feel like in Korea, I have a habit of solely just focusing on English and not learning enough Korean and then freaking out when I need to speak more Korean. But I think if I had a better habit of learning every day or doing something every day with it, I would pick it up a lot quicker. So I definitely think doing something every day, making it a habit is definitely key.
It's anything in life. It does have to be habitual. It does have to be a part of the routine where you do it even if you don't feel like it, and then eventually it becomes something you really enjoy.
Yeah.
Usually, so everyone keep giving me those comments. Keep typing in your questions for Missy. And oh, we had a lovely question here. Have you ever taught IELTS?
No, I haven't. I haven't personally. I know what IELTS is. We have that kind of equivalent in the UK for adults too, who are trying to get citizenship in England. But I haven't personally done that. What about you, Lee?
It's I've not taught that one specifically, but I feel it's in my future.
Mm.
We had a good one. Do your students sometimes make you angry?
Does it make me angry? I think I never really get angry. I think sometimes I could be frustrated, but I think in Korea not so much. But in England, I had kids who I'd just be like, "Oh my goodness, my head's gonna explode right now." I'm on breaking point. But then it's kind of you can send them out of the room and things like that. And especially in my early days, is when you're trying to learn how to classroom management and things like that. It's quite frustrating because it's a different dynamic. You've got to be professional. And also, what I was taught is don't take anything personal. So, anything the kids say, it's never personal. It's like some kind of projection, something they can't handle. They're teenagers, they don't know how to handle their emotions. So, I don't really get angry because I know that it's not a personal dig or anything. I just kind of get frustrated. I was more frustrated in the early days when I didn't know how to handle behavioral issues of teenagers in England. Yeah.
Right. I like that take on it, Missy. That's a good point. That when we get angry as teachers, it's often because we have taken something personally, like some bad behavior is disrespecting me.
Right.
And usually there's no intention of the kind. They have their own thoughts and their own things. So everyone keep dropping some comments and questions for Missy. And I had one for you.
Mhm.
Can you talk about your faith and your religious background?
Mhm.
And how does it affect your outlook on life?
Mhm. Yeah, so I'm a Muslim. So I was born Muslim, grew up Muslim. I think it's kind of hard here because of a lot of there's no Muslim kind of community. There's a small Muslim community, and there is like the mosque in Itaewon, which is great. Um, but I feel like in the teaching world, there's not been many Muslims. I have met a few, and we meet up sometimes, but we're in different cities. But I think if you come as a student, what's nice is there is lots of like Malaysian students or Pakistani students and different
Well,
countries. Muslim.
apart from the country you currently live in and the current situation, just as a person,
Yeah.
as how you view the world or how you approach not just the place you're living now, but your life and your dreams. How is your faith a part of the way that you live and move in the world?
Yeah, I think what's important is I just keep my faith at my core and in all my decisions. I'm like, is this something I should be doing? This is something I shouldn't be doing. Kind of thing is in the back of my mind, but also just having that. I think we obviously can go to mosque and things like that, but what's good about my faith is you don't necessarily have to. You can speak to God directly yourself. So I feel like it's just important to kind of keep up with those practices. Like I do Ramadan here on my own, or me and my friends will meet on the weekends to open our fast together. But it's been really tough to do things like that on my own and keep up with the prayers. It's kind of tough, but it's all about, at your core, staying true to yourself, I think. Because I feel like when you start to lose your faith, well, me personally, I am not myself.
Exactly. Keeping the important first things first, the important things important, even when it becomes difficult.
Yeah.
And you are just this strong, beautiful, independent woman. You've done so many great things in your teaching career, and you create all this beautiful content on YouTube and Instagram. Is there any way that your faith kind of gives you strength, or would you say enables you to do all the things that you do?
Yeah, I feel like before I do anything, I will just be like, I'll just ask God. I say, right, if this is good for me, let me have it. If it's not, take it away. Even if it's not good for me, even if we really want it, I said, if it's not good for me and my faith and my belief, take it away. And thankfully, I've had so many opportunities that I've been able to pursue. And again, I think it's just keeping myself, morals and values at the core, and then it's okay.
And that is often complicated when you live in a different country or live away from your family. It's
Right.
something that we have to work for.
Yeah.
So let's see. We had a question a little while earlier. That was a very good and helpful one. Okay, I can't find it right now, but there we go. What kind of content is your YouTube channel, Missy?
My YouTube channel started off like beauty, skincare reviews and stuff, and then now it's a bit more like travel vlogging around Korea. So I think it's just a bit of both at this point. So if I do get any kind of treatments done, I'll put it on there, and then I'll do the same for.
And we had another question from the amazing Mike, and
Mhm.
who says they could use a British speaker's help.
Oh,
Uh,
fantastic! Yeah, I
Mike
do.
is a great English channel of his own, and Missy, you should work with him. He's
Absolutely. Yep, I have a YouTube channel, and I will definitely do the videos because that sounds good.
There we go. Oh, we have Lee's looking happy, cheerful, and Missy's looking very innocent. Thank you. That's
Thank
that's our
you.
vi- that's our vibe. That's our energy. That's what we want to. Um, that's what we want to do. Oh, this is a good question. I'm 63 and I want to learn English. Is it impossible at this age? What do you think?
I don't think anything's impossible at any age, at any point. I think it's just your determination. And if you want to do it, you should do it. And I
Mm-mm.
think it's so easy to be discouraged, and you hear so many voices, different people saying, oh, you can't do that now. You shouldn't do that. Are you sure you want to do that? And my advice is ignore them, even though it's very hard. And if it's something you want to do, then you should absolutely do it. And I think you can do it, Mustafa. I think you can.
And many people, when they want to start something that's very difficult, or they think they've started it too late, they'll say, oh, should I start university now? I will get my degree when I'm 40. Should I start learning a language now? I'll learn it when I'm 70. If you live, you will be 40 or 70 anyway. You
Exactly.
might as well pursue something valuable.
Hmm.
We think you can. We think you can. Let's see. Let's see. We had a question here. I'm from Nepal, and English is the second language of our country. So, which grammar topic should I learn first? Oh, kind of a broad question. Missy, does anything come to mind immediately for a
Hmm.
grammar?
For grammar topics, I can't really think off the top of my head. But I think what's good to learn is maybe like tenses. using the correct tense, past, present, future, because I can hear a lot of even my students who are pretty fluent, they can use the wrong tense. So they would say I walked instead of I walked, or I'm going on a walk or going walking. So just those kind of tenses is really helpful, I think.
That's a good one. I do agree that just making sure that you're absolutely certain of past, present, future tenses, you will sound instantly more fluent. If you never make a time tense mistake, you
Right.
will be. It's the basics, but it's the basics for a reason. It's so valuable. It's so important. And let's see. We had okay. Oh, can we have Missy's Instagram?
Mhm.
Absolutely. We want you to check out all of her content. She has some beautiful things from Fashion Week recently, actually.
Yeah.
Even though Missy is a teacher and not a professional model, you wouldn't know it. You need to see. You need to check out those pictures, everybody. And keep dropping me your questions for Missy as we go. Oh, here we go. How to think in English. Can you help me think in English clearly?
Oh, that's a good one. I think it's just, maybe just translating in your head. So
Mm-mm.
you're walking and you're like, oh, what time is this bus coming? But you say it in your language. So I think you're Vietnamese from your name. So instead of thinking, so once you say it in Vietnamese, say it in English too. So, okay, what time is it?
And one thing I love about the current country I'm currently living in, they talk to themselves out loud all the time, much more than people do in English. It's a
Right.
common thing to people to say, "Oh, this is frustrating. Oh,
Right.
I'm so cold." They say it out loud. And if you can start doing that in English, I
Mhm.
think just verbalizing, saying everything you feel,
Mhm.
it will help you start thinking in that language
Right.
too.
Right.
Let's see. So we got talk a little slow, please.
Sorry,
We
Jose.
we do talk quickly. One reason is many women talk quickly, and we're both women, and we know each other and we like each other. So I think people talk a little faster
Mm.
when they're acquainted. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, we got another one. Please speak slowly.
Okay.
Wow.
So I thought I was, and I'm not.
Well, we can just take it down a notch. We can
Mhm.
go more slowly. Is it okay if I use contractions like I'm gonna, I wanna? What do you think?
It's similar to that previous comment. It's using it in the right context. So if you're having a casual conversation, then absolutely it's okay. But if you're speaking formally to a teacher or any kind of professional, a doctor, I wouldn't suggest it. I know sometimes people think, oh, it makes you sound like a native speaker, so people want to use it. However, it's okay in the right context because my students will write in the middle of an essay, I'm gonna do this. And I'm like, nope, it has to be, I'm going to do this. So it's the right context, I'd say.
Oh, that's fantastic. The that contractions are very good to use, but use them at the right time. In any language, there are certain tips and tricks that make you sound more fluent when you are talking to friends.
Mhm.
But you're not always talking to friends. So they don't make you sound more fluent if you're talking to someone important.
Right.
Okay, so we had this friend had asked the question, how can I improve my English speaking?
Mhm. I think I would say it's about just taking the risk of speaking English in like public, or if you're in a different country using it, depending where you are, or if you see native people who you think speak English, just try to speak English with them. I think it's all about practice. So if you feel like that's too scary, you can find like online classes or online conversations where people can just have like live chats and you just speak to each other. You can practice that way. And so don't be afraid to speak English, because everyone's quite, open to listening to you. Don't be afraid to speak it.
I think bravery is perhaps the most important thing. You
Right.
cannot speak well if you are not brave.
Mm.
You must be brave and take a risk and talk to people.
Mhm.
So we had a question. Do you agree with the point that it's easier to learn each subsequent foreign language? Like if you have learned one foreign language, is it easier to learn the next one and then the next one?
Yes, I definitely think that, because I'm terrible with languages. So I've never fully learned another language. So I've always kind of faltered, but I feel like it's helped me understand. I'm very good at understanding languages. So even with Korean, I can understand most of the conversation, but I hear two or three words and see the gestures. I know what you're saying, because that's how I grew up learning the languages at home. So I feel like you begin to pick up habits with language learning. So I think it gets easier because you're kind of used to, oh, I need to study the grammar like this. I need to do this in order to pick up the sentence structure. So it's easier because you've done it before. It's like with anything. Once you do it once, it's easier the next time. So I think it applies here too.
And I think it's important to remember that learning a language is a skill, not
Mm.
just learning English or learning Spanish.
Yeah.
Learning is a skill in the same way that if you learn one kind of dancing, you'll probably easily learn another kind because you're used to memorizing patterns and moving your body. So definitely, if you've learned some other languages, you will let's see. Oh, here's a good one from Harry. Harry's always bringing the lovely questions.
Mhm.
Missy, can you give any advice for those who always say, learning English is so hard because I don't have a partner to talk with?
I think it's,
Get a
uh,
girlfriend, guys. Get a
yeah,
girlfriend.
I think people say that to me. They say, oh, the best way to learn Korean is just to get a Korean boyfriend. And I'm like, oh, is that the only way? I'm sure it's not.
Yes, it is the only way, Missy. Romantic entanglement,
Right. That sounds
relationships.
more
It's the only.
stressful than learning a language itself. I think it's really important to practice with anybody, doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It can be anybody. It can be an old lady who lives next door who just wants to have a conversation. It can be anyone. Even online, there's so many online apps and online classes. You don't have to enroll in anything anymore. It can just be like italki, and there's so many different apps you can use now. You don't need a person physically there with you
And
all the time.
And even technology, if you change the language settings on your phone to
Ah,
English, then you can say, you know, if your country has Amazon, hello Alexa, hello Siri or whatever. And I personally, to learn a language, there are many technologies in the country I live in, and I used to talk to the elevator. The elevator would say, "Oh, we are now on the fifth floor," and I'd say, "Thank you." And you can you can have a conversation with technology if you wanted to.
yeah.
So don't feel bad about not having a conversation partner or a cute English girlfriend. However, you might consider it, guys. It could be helpful for you. So let's see. The this was an interesting question. Do you think watching soaps like soap operas, kind of like deeply dramatic shows on TV, is a good way to learn English?
I think, yeah, watching anything with some kind of English speaking is fine. Whatever you like to watch. So if you're into soap operas, watch soap operas. If you're into action movies, watch action movies. I think just pick the genre. But I do find soap operas. I don't know about soap operas in America, but in England they are very regional. So if you want to learn more general kind of like regional accents, regional dialects in England, because every city in England has a new accent. So you can find a soap opera for that. So you can like listen to that and learn that way too. But if you're just looking for general English speaking, I just watch like a popular TV show that you like. Yeah.
I think for me, the English with English, the issue, the problem with English soap operas is the subject matter. There's a lot of romantic difficulties and just a lot of situations that don't come up in real life as much. So we had a great question here from Pallavi. Hello, dear. Are teachers very rich around the world? What do you think?
I wish that would be really lovely. I think teachers should be rich, but however, we're just paid a very average salary. I think in Dubai they get paid quite a lot there. However, the cost of living in Dubai is very expensive, so you can save a lot of money there, but it's expensive to live there. But in general, I think we're pretty average paid. Yeah.
It's an excellent question because I think many people they see their teachers or their professors and think, oh, they seem so classy and so educated. They must make a lot of money, but usually it's just a normal sort of job. It's not like being a rocket scientist or a surgeon.
Right.
But it's there are many rewards to being a teacher. There's a lot of value in it, and we certainly love doing it.
Yeah,
And
we're not rich in many ways, but not monetary ways.
yes, let's see. We had one here. I wanted to go back and pick up on the similar question. How do I learn English if I'm shy? So we talked about bravery a little. Do you have any tips for not necessarily, oh, I don't have anybody to practice with, but I'm deeply shy as my personality. What can I do?
I think using the applications again, but maybe if you don't want to have a one-to-one with a teacher, there's just apps that are there, like, Duolingo. So you can just learn vocabulary just one-to-one with your phone. And then when you build that confidence, maybe you could do an online class with one-to-one teacher, then maybe a group, and then eventually in person, I would say.
Oh, that's marvelous. Oh, here's it talking to an elevator. That's interesting. I've had some great elevator conversations, Harry. The elevators here are so polite, like for real. They're very thoughtful. Let's see. Oh, interesting one. Could you tell me about the best and usable dictionary for improving our vocabulary? I think. Oh, so go ahead, Missy. Do you have any dictionaries to recommend?
I love using with my students is dictionary.com or thesaurus.com. I think maybe they have an app form. It's not exclusively a language learning tool. It's just a general dictionary, but the thesaurus.com is also great. It gives you so many synonyms for different scenarios and things like that.
And for anyone who's a early learner, what is a synonym?
Oh, sorry. Synonym is yes, a one word that has different words, but they mean the same thing. So the same meaning, but different words.
Like, for example, small and little. They are synonyms. They have the same meaning, but there are two different words that we can use.
Mm-hmm.
And can you recommend us the best English teaching channel? Well, everyone, I think you know what it is. It's Shaw English Online.
Shaw English Online.
And also, we have to recommend our dear friend Mike at Mike's English Lab.
Nice
He
English.
is so funny. So, if you enjoy a good, funny English video, you should see the humor that he uses in his English teaching. Let's see. How can I speak fluently? Not just learn to speak. How can I speak fluently?
I think you could, again, I think that confidence of just, you've got to kind of understand that you will, at the beginning, you won't be fluent, and it takes practice to get there. So it's just practicing and practicing and practicing. Even if you watch a TV show, repeat after them. That could be a way too. If you feel like, oh, I can't do one-to-one. And then eventually, again, classes or one-to-one teaching or in life teaching.
Yes. Let's see. When you learn other UNISI, you learn other languages, you realize that they have different grammar, not only vocabulary and pronunciation. For example, French information and knowledge are countable. Like you could say, I have one knowledge. Or, like in English, we say, I am 20 years old. In French, they say, I have 20 years. So that's always interesting that it's not just that the words are different,
Right.
the entire shape of the sentence is different.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it fantastic. Let's see. We had one up here. There we go, everybody. So that's Missy's Insta for anyone who's missed it. It's important. Hello from Northern Thailand. My English is not good, but I always love watching Western spaghetti movies. So everyone, do you know spaghetti Westerns? It's these old classic Western movies. So this friend is already doing a great job at learning English because they're watching English movies. Let's see. We had a beautiful girl. Thank you. We do appreciate you. We do appreciate a good compliment. And we had a question. Do you do Instagram lives? Missy, do you do Instagram lives?
Yeah, I haven't done one in a while, but I used to do them all the time at lunchtime in my office because all my office would go out for lunch. But at my new job, there is half of us in the office. But I am planning to do more lives soon. So maybe like in the evening after school time for me. Probably a little bit earlier than this, but yeah, I'm planning to do more because I always find them so fun. I always have a good time on Instagram Live.
And everyone, you can check Missy's Instagram here for when she does her lives. You can talk to her. And this is my Instagram. This is fit_Lee. And I do lives every day, always one and often two. So you can join in and see me and talk to us in English when we talk about our daily lives. And let's see. What is the best way to remember a new vocabulary and spelling? Thank you, May.
I'd say flashcards for like the new vocabulary, definitely a good one. And spelling, it's just that old-fashioned repeating it like 3 to 5 times, writing it 3 to 5 times, typing it 3 to 5 times without autocorrect. Is the best way. Yeah. And I think sometimes writing it with your hand and spelling it, it's good. It's a motor function that will help you remember it. So writing it physically rather than using phones and digitized things is best.
They say that writing is something that not many people do anymore, but it's a great way to learn a language, everyone. Use your physical hand with a physical pen or pencil to write the words, and you will learn them much quicker. So I have something that I know that you do is I know you do some exercises, not physical exercises, but there are some speaking activities that you do at the beginning of your classes to help your students feel confident. Can you talk about the exercises you do in class?
Yeah, I like to do like affirmations, positive affirmations. We do 3 affirmations every day, and we repeat them 3 times. So I will have things like, I love myself. I should not compare myself to others. I am my own person, and things like that. So I'll have the same one for the full week, and then I'll change it every week. And I also give them like Google Slides so they can read them if they want to. I started it last semester, but then we got busy and then we're on Zoom, so I forgot to do them. Then this semester, I've been very consistent. We've been doing it every week. And the kids actually really enjoy it. Some of them first hated it, found it embarrassing, but it's really helped with their self esteem because I've noticed with speaking tests how much they've improved from the previous semester just by those little positive affirmations. I like to do that. It takes like 3 minutes of the lesson at the beginning and that's it. So it's not taking up too much time, if because sometimes people think that's a concern. Oh, it's taking too much time, but it honestly doesn't. Yeah.
Oh, that is wonderful. I love that you ask your students to say positive words about themselves in English before English class.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a question. Do you like TikTok?
Yeah, I actually really love TikTok. But I find it so like I can get lost in a rabbit hole, you know? I will scroll and scroll and scroll when I'm like, wait, I was supposed to upload something. Now it's too late. I have to go to sleep or something. But I do think it's a really great platform. There's so much on there. There is a lot.
And speaking of what's on there, what kind of videos do you put on there?
Of
Do
me,
you
I think I do start to do some mini vlogs, or I'll just do some kind of funny reactions or a little trend I will do, things like that. But I think mainly I'll do kind of mini vlogs or stuff that will help you if you move to Korea or you're visiting Korea. So it's like helpful travel stuff in Korea.
Nice. And I like your headphones. Thank you.
So
Thank
cute.
you. I appreciate that. Let's see. This is a good question. How far do you believe in affirmation? Oh, so May, do you mean how much do we have to believe it when we say it?
Because I think
Okay.
if it's how much do you have to believe it? It's sometimes just saying it becomes a habit and you will start to believe it. Because if you think about negative words, if you keep saying, oh, I'm so stupid, I can never learn this, you stop yourself subconsciously. You don't even realize. So even if you say one positive thing, I can do this, I will do this, I will understand this, I will learn English. It works that way. So it's a subconscious thing. So the more you say it, the more you will believe it. So it just takes that first step to just start saying it. Yeah.
Exactly. And everyone, on the previous TikTok question, TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, all of Missy's links are in the description of this video. So you can check out all of her things conveniently there. You can find everything that she's got on the beautiful internet here. So everyone, it's time to wrap things up. We've got 2 or 3 minutes. Please type in your last questions for Missy. Type in your last comments and compliments. Please give Missy a good compliment in English, guys. What kind things can you say to Missy, thanking her for being here with us today? So let's see. We had a question. Do you always create live events in YouTube? Missy, do you do YouTube lives as well?
No, I haven't. I've only done a YouTube live once, I think, but I want to do more of them. So hopefully I'll get more visitors and then I can do it. I'm just very like, I don't know what to do, what to say. I feel like my YouTube, I take it too serious and too formally, whereas YouTube Live and Instagram Live, I think is different. My Instagram Live is way more casual, but I will definitely do another YouTube Live, and then I hope you guys will be watching.
They should. And we had a good compliment here. Missy is wonderful.
Thank
Oh,
you,
you
Professor.
know exactly what to say, Professor Curmudgeon. You do. Thank you, Leah. Missy. Goodbye, everyone. Oh, and we did have Leah, you're okay too. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that kind word. And we had a lovely comment here. Thank you. Can you give me the name of your YouTube? It's Missy, and you can see all the links in the description of this video. And we had something here said, thank you. Thank you for being here, Missy, and thank you for introducing her to us, Lee. All right. So, everyone, we're going to say goodbye for now. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you again soon. Check out links in the description for all of Missy's information and where to find her on the internet.
Thank you guys for all the questions. And thanks for having me, Lee.
You're welcome. It's always a